So today I want to talk about women and feelings, and then when feelings get extreme and there's a crisis, and then this idea of like what else is related to women is habitachon, which is trust, um, and how when we make mistakes or when we did have a crisis or we messed up or the feelings took over, we can apologize with dignity. And there's also a piece I want to share from the sicha from Vayeishiv 5752 from the Lubavitcher rebbe. And so women and feelings. Men rely on, this is stuff I've written about a year ago, but I still feel that it's, could be helpful. So men rely on women to be in touch with feelings, and if a man doesn't respect the woman's softer and more delicate feelings, she will start to regress to the childish aggressive emotions like anger and even provoking, terrorizing, tantruming. He deserves it for not serving her when she was secure about feelings and then had to feel insecure and amplify them. The man can more easily become insensitive, numb, and unfeeling and unreachable. So a woman who is a wife or a partner has a duty to be expressing her feelings to her husband, to her partner. Because another woman won't want to bother making herself so vulnerable and risking him not handling the power and control properly and giving the time and energy in it. And then he might get so desperate to feel something that he may try to fight, conquer, get a thrill, be territorial, rule and dominate either at work or in the world or even at home. His ability to be less affected, clouded, and distracted by emotions gives him something to offer her when she is overwhelmed, when she's needing the support. When she's experiencing the chaos, he can be the stability. If he's in his healthy masculinity, he will appreciate this and feel proud and fed by the role of value. I want to talk about during a crisis. So obviously here we're talking about when there's an external man and woman separately, outside like a man and a woman. But here I'm talking about how really we each have an inner man and inner woman. In other words, a femininity and masculinity. And this is totally normal for Torah, people who learn Torah. There's feminine aspects to the soul and personality. There's masculine aspects. And now I'm going to talk about, so what about during a crisis? It's really good to write your crisis list. So what do you do during a crisis? What are the things that work for you? You obviously have to have been working on yourself for a while or taking notes from other people, or you have to have some kind of reflections. Let's not say reflections. You have to have some kind of database already, whether it's your own or from others, to be able to do this. So we call it not reflection, but like recovering. Like, oh, my ear is itchy. Okay. So rituals become extremely important, and you have to choose someone to listen to as a guide. Not you have to. Let me stop. These are suggestions that I wrote, but each person should have their crisis checklist or crisis blueprint. We call this like checklist, blueprint, or map. Or even like I said, database, right? So I'll also call it that. All right, so first we said rituals become really important, extremely. And then choosing someone to listen to as a guide. Choose who. And it doesn't have to be somebody always the same person, but you choose someone. Keep taking deep breaths and bringing the energy to the gut. Remembering previous times that I have been through that same or similar situation. Call or contact someone, a friend or a significant other. And I put in parentheses significant. Both my ears are a little itchy now, okay? I put significant parentheses in quotes, like one quote, because a significant other doesn't have to be somebody who's like your actual husband, wife. If you're single, it could be someone who you could rely on, someone who's significant to you, who you're significant to, what that really means, right? Someone who really cares about you, really thinks about you. Anyway, head between knees, do a few coughings. So you go, really helps. Reaching out of self to help someone else. Being the best company I can be for myself at that time. Be held or touched, stroked, caressed, or hugged. Watch or read comedy. Laughing releases tension. A hot shower, self-grooming, taking care of the body and the beauty. Sometimes I'll just tweeze hairs out of parts of my body. And I think also, like, I look back, I'm like, wait a second, did I over-rely on some of these? And then it went too far. Like, reaching out to people sometimes instead of realizing I could do it on my own, or too much self-grooming and then causing like hairs to grow faster. But anyway, dancing, moving, singing, crying, exercising, shaking, bouncing. And I wrote making calls again. You see, like that was something that I used to use a lot. Now I think I use it sometimes, but not as much. Going for a walk, looking around. If you need to wear sunglasses, that's okay. Try to relocate even to nature. Preparing food or cooking, making meals, grocery shopping, eating. If you could, touching an animal like a cat or a dog, talk to them. Listen to music. Either let it be a safe space with a beginning, middle, and end. To fully feel deeply, or not. Or just, or not. Like, let it be endless, or like let it be like tapping into the endlessness, or, the safe space with that beginning, the middle, and the end. The song's going to finish. And to fully feel deeply, knowing that it's going to be temporary, and it's going to have a beginning, a middle, and end. Trusting the body's doing what it's supposed to, and maybe what we need to do is just be grateful it's doing its job properly in the time of the acute stress, event, or situation. I also personally love to journal, make lists, draw, art, paint, maybe clay, craft. I'd even put cleaning on there. Like they say, keeping your hands busy. Focusing on basic hygiene, keeping the body in bed and immediate environment. Right, there we go, cleaning. Clean and organized. Just in different ways, keeping the hands busy and making things clear and clean. Praying, talking to Hashem, focus and meditate on Hashem being God. Cling to Hashem, connect to Hashem. And also, of course, talk, listen, and be around people who are safe and non-judgmental. Because this could be a new part of us that's coming out it's not quite a breakdown, it's a breakthrough, right? We see what we're doing here. And now let's say things got, not okay. Let's say during the crisis, or it felt like a crisis, or feelings went out of control, or the person we expected to be our masculine, even if it was a woman, we just expected someone to be our masculine, it didn't work out, and we got upset, so apologizing with dignity. I'll say 3 main points here. 1, we have to acknowledge the behavior is not the way the person deserves to be treated. It's not the way I want to show up either. 2, without making excuses, we name the struggle. Like when I don't eat or rest enough or feel overwhelmed, I may raise my voice or lash out. It's not right to put that on you. And 3, give an example of a potential amends. Like, I don't want to cause you discomfort, but I'm in a lot of discomfort now. And so I need a little time before I can engage respectfully and appropriately. Could we pick this up in an hour or tomorrow when I'm able to be present and give the care and attention that this or you or we deserve? And finally, I want to talk about the last 2 topics. So 1, in the book Shaar, Chovos, halevavos, duties of the heart, there's a section, fourth gate. It's called shaar habitachon. Shaar means gate of trust. And this is written by Rabeinu ibn Pekuda. He says there's 7 categories of bitachon in God. So this could really help us when we're having to apologize, but even before that, with the crisis or with the feelings. 1, matters pertaining solely to ourselves. 2, matters pertaining to wealth, livelihood, and possessions. We could also call this kind of like security, resources. And then we have matters pertaining to loved ones, friends, and enemies. 4, obligations of the heart. These are, or the limbs, the mitzvahs, the commandments. Commandments, or we could even call them duties. So that solely benefit or harm our own self. Obligations performed with the limbs that benefit or harm others. The reward in the world to come that's commensurate with our actions in this world, and the reward in the world to come that comes as a form of kindness from the Creator, blessed be, to those who are treasured by Him and those who love Him. And finally, I want to talk about from the Lubavitcher rebbe, the sicha, Vayeishiv 5752, which was this past week, but how many years ago? 5752, and now we're in 5785. So it's 33 years ago. It's about 33 years ago, yeah. So the feeling of selfhood is not itself the intrinsic advantage. Rather, the feeling of selfhood is, and this is from, again, I want to stop and say, this is, what do I mean, sicha? I mean like a speech on this parsha, this portion of the Torah by the Lubavitcher rebbe. the feeling of selfhood is not itself the intrinsic advantage. Rather, the feeling of selfhood is a reflection of the person's intrinsic connection with Hashem, in whom there's nothing else and only Hashem's selfness exists. That's my way of paraphrasing it. Another thing from the Lubavitcher of that sicha, that speech, it says, a created being feels his existence to be independently real, established, and permanent. A created being feels this way because his source derives from his blessed essence, which is God, Hashem. As such, the created being experiences a feeling actually associated with Hashem, whose being is of his essence and is not brought into being by some other cause preceding himself. So in other words, your feeling of existing is because you get your sense of existence from the one who actually exists, which is Hashem. So finally, although it's a little bit in advance, because like my birthday is in Adar, and now we're like mid-Cheshvan, mid-Kislev, so mid-Teves Shvat, mid-Teves to mid-Shvat to mid-Adar. My birthday's in 3 months, but I wrote this, reflections before my birthday. So we'll end with this. Or I thought to myself that I'd grown so much since the year before, carved out, hallowed, stretched, and widened. Now, I also want to say that, like, the idea, sometimes we prepare in advance is also because, like, this past year was a leap year, so there was a extra month, and what was that? Something fell. So technically it would have been like 2 months. It's about 10 months ago that I wrote this. So it was in this past year, me looking back. So maybe it's good to kind of get a little bit of a heads up in advance. It's nice. So I've grown so much since last year, carved out, hallowed, stretched, widened, and thinking about salt. It melts the ice, which is the snow, and water also melts salt. You put salt in the water, it melts, but then salt melts the snow, the ice, which is a type of water. So both purify, and there has to be this balanced saturation. Otherwise, you'll have some salt in the water, or you'll have some snow with the ice, right? So it's not oversaturating. And this is like a type of fire. The salt itself is a type of fire. And I want my my prophecy to return. I was thinking about, like, which in a way I was thinking it's like a harmony of above and below. This idea that the salt melts the snow, which is a type of water, and then the water melts the salt. So this divine, cosmic, upper celestial sense where even like my true north may be from above. It's like I think I'm supposed to go forward, but really my true north is above, north up, right? And then this idea that I'm not a backup plan. I'm automatically the main character of my life, and my perspective is facing out to all the characters, even if I can't see the backdrop of the movie because it's behind me, like, and the props and the happenings, and my cell of my body, my foundational like base has a voice. I can hear now more. And when I learn how to detach from the realities, I expect it to for sure happen, for sure, and be open for a new life in order not to have false hope. I'm not stuck in judgment, grudges, compartmentalization. And these are just like themes that I was thinking about before. So I could think about, even though it's not quite yet me preparing for the new birthday, I could say that as I reflect on this, I have experienced all of this. And that's why it's so amazing for us to do this healing work of journaling, of writing. And you could even say we're like a scribe of our life. And what exactly writing does, we will never know maybe how much it brings things to life, how much it helps us to understand and to grow. So that's all for today. Wish you all the best. Bye-bye.